I'm sure you've met people who look like they just lived a charmed life. They look like they had everything together, no problems at all. And let me just tell you that those people's pasts are probably, many of them, full of bad choices. That's what I want to talk about on today's edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I am your host. I'm Kurt. Today is Tuesday, the 6th of July of 2021. And welcome everybody who's here on Rumble, on the podcast on YouTube. Remember, Rumble is my preferred platform for a number of reasons. And I want to talk, as I say today, on the subject of bad choices. I'm going to go ahead and read through my notes, and this will kind of give you my idea here, right, of what I'm talking about. I'm not an example of all good choices. I don't suppose anybody is. Why would I tell you that? Because if you look at me now, you might be surprised to learn just how many bad choices I've made over the course of time. The point I'm making here is really pretty simple. It's not just about trying a lot and failing a lot. It's literally as much about making bad choices and correcting your course when you come to understand you've made them. You also need to realize, just because you see someone who seems even remotely to have it all together, it's almost certainly the case that wasn't always the way that individual lived their life. In fact, many people who seem to be doing well are still fighting battles that are the result of not so good paths they followed in past. If you don't make bad choices, you're not just the exception, but frankly, you probably need to get out of your parents' basement. I'm not trying to advocate making bad choices as much as I'm saying you're bound to make them. Doing so will help you to learn, granted not in most folks' favorite way, right? It'll help you to learn. Not doing so means you're likely to never live a significant life. Trial and error, read here, failure and hope for impending success are a part of life that includes making bad choices at times. I may look to a lot of folks. I may not. You never can tell how folks look at you. But I may very well look to folks like somebody who has it all together. I drive around in what they would consider a relatively nice car, even though it's a fairly old one. I own my own home, even though I'm still paying a mortgage on it. I have my son, who's a great kid. I have most of the things I want in life. You would look at me maybe and you would think, here's a person who's been all about good choices. Let me assure you, nothing could be further from the truth. I'm not saying every choice I've ever made was a bad one. Not trying to tell you that. What I'm saying to you at this point in time is, to get where I am today, I've gone through a lot of stuff that you would not know, you would not easily be able to tell I went through by looking at me and seeing who I am. It's just a reality that you have to not just fail a lot, but that failure actually most of the time engenders bad choices. It's people doing things that they look back on and say, I don't know why I did that. I couldn't tell you why I did that. And thinking to themselves, well, maybe I won't make that mistake again. And I'm just going to tell you something. What happens in many instances is make a bad choice, recover from the bad choice, make another bad choice, recover from that bad choice, make another bad choice, recover from that bad choice. Okay, now we make a good choice. Awesome. Here we are on the right road for this particular thing. That doesn't mean there's not a bunch of other things that you're not going to need to muddle through in the course of time. But that really, truly is a large part of what life is about, is muddling through. If you think that when people say failure is the road to success, what they're saying is not making bad choices is the road to success, let me clue you in. Everyone I've ever seen who failed typically because of one bad choice or another. Yeah, okay, you can argue some of it was luck. Some of it was they did this at just the right time. But here's the thing. A lot of times when a person learns this is the time to do this thing, it'll work the same way the next time they do it. So their bad choices in terms of when they did the thing were still bad choices. And when they learn to deal with the things that they had done, they start to come to understand, well, but if I do it like this, it works so much better. And this is, like I say, this happens a lot in life. You're late to work and you learn you have to get up earlier, or you have to take a different route to work. You do things badly at work and you learn that you have to take a different tack with regard to a particular thing or set of things that you're doing. The choices that you made initially with regard to those things may not have been great choices. In fact, I'd be kind of surprised if they were great choices, and as far as that goes. That's the point. Life is actually about firstly making bad choices, then recovering and making good choices. Now, I'm going to be fair. It's obvious that the less you can make bad choices, the better off you are, right? If you can make good choice after good choice after good choice, things should go well for you. But the reality is most people just don't work like that. You don't get to the point where you typically make good choices until you get a little bit older and a little bit wiser, a little bit more wisdom under your belt. And at that point, then you're more likely to make good choices than you are to make bad ones. But what I'm trying to get across to you is if you look back at your life and you see a path of strewn bits and broken things, you need to understand. And like I say, you look back and the path is you're going around in circles here and you're doing, you see all of these things that you did in your past. You need to understand you're not only not alone, but you're on the same road in a sense that successful people have taken to get where they were going. I know very few people who were successful the first time they tried to do something. I know very few people who can say that. I know very few people who are successful who can't say, well, I did a whole lot of jumping from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing, right? Before I finally found the right way. This is what you're going to learn. And it doesn't really matter whether you like it or not. But here's the important thing, right? The important thing is just because, let's say that it wasn't true that everybody out there made a bunch of bad mistakes before they got to the right place. The fact that you have made bad mistakes or have made bad choices doesn't mean you can't come to a good place. Now, there are certain kinds of choices you can make that will make it a good deal harder for you to come to a good place. But that having been said, sometimes it might even make it impossible. I'll grant you. But I think most of the time what you're going to find is if you're willing to do the right kinds of work, you will find yourself in a position where you can succeed, where you can get over the bad choices that you've made in your life. Now, again, if you ask me, am I advocating making bad choices for the sake of it? The answer to that is, of course not. Why would I do that? But if you ask me if I advocate trying and trying and trying and failing and failing and failing, and some of that being as a result of bad choices, the answer is absolutely. Because in my view, in my way of looking at the world, this is how successes are built. We don't build successes on never trying. And when we try and we fail, it's almost always, not always, but almost always, at least partially, as a result of bad choices on our part. This is what you need to understand. So, do I want to make bad choices? No. Am I going to make bad choices? Yes. As I get older and more experienced, am I likely, hopefully, to make fewer bad choices? Yes. But the point is, I still had to go down that path where I made a bunch of wrong turns, went a bunch of wrong places until I come to some places that are actually good, right places to be. All right, I need to go ahead and wrap up, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. This is the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I am your host. I am Kurt. Today is Tuesday, the 6th of July of 2021. That means tomorrow will be Wednesday, the 7th of July of 2021. Welcome to thank you for everybody who's been here on Rumble, on the podcast, on YouTube. Welcome as well, of course. And again, Rumble is my primary platform that I prefer people watch me on. Remember that you can give me a positive or negative rumble on Rumble, a like or a dislike, that's a thumbs up or a thumbs down on YouTube. Sometimes on Rumble it's the Boxing Club, by the way. You can comment on any of my videos, and I'll do everything that I can to make sure that I read those comments, and you may get me to respond, but you also may kind of change my direction on various things that I've said. The subject today has been bad choices. Tomorrow we're going to talk on the idea of, is simple really best? And that's not exactly what I want to talk about, but that's sort of in the realm of what I'm talking about. Thank you to everyone who's been here today. Hope your day is being a good one. It is Tuesday, and it's my first day of the work week because yesterday was the observed Independence Day holiday. Hope you had a good weekend, and if you had got a long weekend, hope that worked out well for you as well. Hopefully we will see you again on tomorrow's edition of the Daily Summation. The speaker on this edition of the Daily Summation is Kurt Schubert. This video was recorded on Tuesday, the 6th of July of 2021. The Daily Summation is created for Kurt's Religion and Politics. Thanks for watching this edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I hope you found it entertaining or instructional, or maybe both. If you want to see more from me, you can go to blogs.kpschubert.com. That's blogs.kpschubert.com. I am on Twitter, Parler, and Minds.com. My handle on each of those is @kpschubert. That's @kpschubert. I have a Rumble and a YouTube channel. They are the Kurt's Religion and Politics channels on Rumble and YouTube. I have a Facebook page. The Facebook page is Kurt's Religion and Politics as well. I am on Patreon. If you want to support me, that's one of the better places you can do that. And you will find me at Kurt's Religion and Politics on Patreon. I have a podcast. The podcast is podcasts with an S, .kpschubert.com. That's podcasts.kpschubert.com. I think you should be able to find me with relative ease on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify as well. The best way I find to do that is to look for Kurt's Religion and Politics. You can try to use the Daily Summation. I find that it doesn't work as well as a general rule, but you can always try that. I'm glad to have you aboard today, and hopefully we will see you again tomorrow.